There's just such a reward in being part of this process and engaging in it. You know, I think a typical white perspective is that there's too much danger, too much discomfort or pain or whatever involved. I think we need to focus on the benefits and the rewards of participating in hastening the coming about of this collaboration between groups of people, groups of humans, you know. Because in the doing, we feel ourselves changing and becoming more transformed, better, advanced versions of ourselves, you know. It gives us a peace that we haven't felt before. We start tapping into a bigger reality of what it means to be human, you know. So these are tremendous rewards. We feel more creative because we're using our creativity and figuring out ways to form relationships and maintain relationships. We feel more compassionate, you know. We feel more just. These are huge things. You can't buy that stuff. You can only get it by doing the work, by participating, and feeling yourself grow in that direction, you know, in those ways.
In a basic way, we're trying to present a new model of behavior, a new model of understanding, a new way of looking at this. And so we're pioneers in this in many ways. And so we all are going to have different experiences as we try to apply these principles. And we want to create a sense of a movement toward this new way of interacting. And so I hear from somebody who's 25 who experienced a racial experience, and normally they respond with anger, but they responded in a different way. Okay, what happened to them? How did they feel? What happened in the situation? And being able to share that. And so you start to see, and then what happens is people start to, instead of looking at spirituality as something that's impractical, again, superfluous, they begin to see it as something, okay, these are people trying this. It's not something that's out of the realm of practicality. And it's coming from many directions and many ages and many classes and perspectives. And so you get that energy coming together, then it becomes the new norm. And that's I think what we're trying to accomplish, to create this and make this the new norm. One of the things we'll be doing, we're calling this, you know, the Race Story Rewrite Project, because we've had that historical way of relating through this anger, frustration, etc. But we think that's a limited view of the possibilities and a limited view of what we can do. So we want to write, or if we call rewrite, a new story coming from this premise. And so we want people, average everyday people, to participating in rewriting this new future.
If you've baked bread, you know that you put 3.5 cups of flour and only 1 little teaspoon or half a teaspoon of yeast in there. And you mix it all up and you heat it up and you cook it and it's bread. But if you forget to put that yeast in there, you just get a pan of concrete, you know. It doesn't take a lot of yeast to raise the entire mass. And that's what I think is so important about getting people to participate. This whole idea of reaching a tipping point requires the participation of many, many, many people, you know. And yet, it doesn't take everybody. It takes that teaspoon of yeast to raise an entire mass. And so if those of us that have some sense of purpose or some sense of motivation around healing our society in terms of racial relationships, if we pool our energies and our thoughts, our hearts together, we will move ourselves as a humanity towards a tipping point. So we can overcome this stuff that's been pounded into our brains. You know, we can do this together. We need everyone who is so inclined to be involved in